Today we have the piano journey of Anya Grokhovski, and it comes from all around the world and it blossoms right here. Stick around. Hi, Ted Barsley with Alamo Piano Galleries. Today I'm visiting with the extremely talented and wonderful Anya Grokhovski. And we are going to have an interview and a discussion, and you're going to learn her piano journey. If you haven't already, look for us online at alamopianogalleries.com and take a look at our store at alamopianogalleries.com, and you can shop our website. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the page, and if you have questions or comments about this or any other video, by all means, please leave it, and we welcome your interactions. Anya, welcome to our wonderful Alamo TV channel, and I'm so thrilled and excited to interview you. And the only comment I have to say is I was surprised that piano was your first instrument, because I saw both your parents were violinists, and I thought she's one of these pianists that got to it after she didn't like violin.
Well, actually, I didn't have any choice. You know, the story is not as romantic as you might envision. So my dad was a violinist in Moscow Philharmonic, and my mother was a violin teacher, and they just needed free pianists, you know, free accompanists in their family. So when I turned 5, they took me by hand and took me to music school. Nobody asked Anya, do you want to play piano or violin or anything?
So your purpose in life was decided for you.
Absolutely. I think I still played dolls when I was 5. But they took me
That's not the first time I've heard that, a life decided for piano.
Yeah.
So was there a piano in the house when you were born into it?
Yes, we had a...
So you were born into a house with a piano?
Well, yeah, my parents were professional musicians.
Right,
so
okay.
there was a piano. I was always upright.
Okay.
Yeah, the first grand I was able to purchase when I was already over 20 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the next thing I wanted is you started playing piano, and it wasn't just for your parents. You started playing with orchestras. Tell me a little bit about how your growth as a pianist came along, your experience with any competitions and stuff like that, or certain composers you loved? Well,
you know, the Soviet Union, the country I grew up in, had a very well-established and organized system for music education for like everybody. It was a socialistic country,
right.
So it was not expensive. I think it costed very little, and the system worked. You would go to music school, and it didn't only offer lessons in piano or violin. It also offered music history and music theory and the choir and ensemble. So that's the school I would go after public school in the morning. So in the morning we would go to public school, like all normal children around the world. And then after that, normal children go to play soccer or, you know, or do some fun things. And I would go to this music school after school. And I would have piano lessons twice a week. And then there was solfeggio and other things. And so that school took me to the age of 15 years old. After that, through very terrible, difficult competition, you would get to the, what here would be considered to be the magnet school. There it was a college. So that's already a professional institution with a huge competition to get in. And once you get in, 80% of studies is related to music. And then on the side, they have, you know, few just humanitarian subjects. After that, you go to master's degree, which is even worse competition happening after that. Yeah, so I studied in Ignatian's college from age of 15 to 19, and then I went to Ignatian's university, which is master's degree, and that took 5 years, and then I did doctorate after that.
Wow.
So it takes like a long time. And then you come to the United States and you think, well, why did I do all that? Maybe I should have studied medicine or something else.
Well, yeah, but now let me ask you, because there's a really impressive list of orchestras that you have played with. And Could you tell me some of those?
Yes, I've recorded Mozart concerto for 3 pianos. Actually, I believe it was with Moscow Radio Orchestra. It was done very many years ago. And actually, if you look at my pianist development, that the most thing I did was the chamber music and accompanying. So I came to San Antonio because of the job at UTSA as an accompanist.
Okay.
So my job was to accompany voice students, choir, guest artists, and that's what brought me to San Antonio.
That's what brought you to San Antonio?
Me and my ex-husband, who got actually real position with UTSA.
Okay.
He got a piano professor position with UTSA.
Okay.
And it was 91. It was a
In
long
91.
time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then from there, I'm trying to think, how did, because Musical Bridges is coming up on 25 years, so there's not a whole lot of space between, well, there's what, about 4 or 5 years from you getting here to where then this Musical Bridges kind of starts off, correct?
26 years now.
26 years now, okay.
Yeah, so we came to San Antonio in 91 and worked at UTSA. And then at some point, I wanted to bring my piano professor to visit San Antonio to show my new country.
Right.
And of course, he's a pianist. And at the time, he was living in Montenegro, which was part of Yugoslavia still at the time, I believe. And so I thought he will come in, but in order to afford to pay his airfare and all that, I'll organize concert for him here. And it was way before Musical Bridges was born.
Right.
So I didn't know how easy or hard it would be. Anyway, so I contacted Mexican Cultural Institute because we had good relationship, and I asked, would you be interested to feature my professor? He would play solo recital, and you can sell tickets, or you can just pay for his airfare. I said, sure, we'll do that. So the conversation took place, I believe, in September of 97.
Okay.
And then he didn't call me, and I thought he probably is not coming. So then in the spring of the same year, he suddenly calling me, Anya, I'm arriving next week. So I was in total panic because
He got to put on a show.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I'm calling Mexican Cultural Institute and I'm telling them, remember, we had that agreement? They said, well, you didn't confirm it, so it's all gone. There's no budget anymore, and we gave away the date. So that was really the neurosis that stayed with me till now as a director of the Performing Arts nonprofit. So at the time, I had a lot of piano students, and most of them were adults, and a lot of them were physicians. And so one of my piano students came to lesson, and I'm sitting and pulling my hair. I don't want to touch my hair now, so it won't look as pretty as it does now. And I told her, I don't know what to do. She said, don't you worry. We'll have a house concert. We'll invite our friends. We'll ask them to donate some money to help you teach a airfare. And that's literally how Musical Bridges was born.
There it is.
I had no idea what I'm getting into. I didn't have enough English to understand. And I grew up in Soviet Union, which is a country without any kind of free enterprise. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even know you can think of something and then start it. Mm-hmm. It was not part of my subconscious even.
Right.
So we had this concert. First house was the house of Dr. Sheila Schwartzman in the Hill Country. It was beautiful. They wrote letters to their friends saying, Anya is bringing her piano professor, come and bring money, bring cash. Right. So people brought cash, were coming to me with the little bombs of cash. Anya, do you have enough money? He probably still thinks that the money grow on the trees in the United States.
Well, it's interesting because even after all this now, you said 26 years, Musical Bridges around the world is still a functioning nonprofit doing exactly the same thing that you did there, except
it's a miracle.
It's a little calm down now, right? It's not 1 week notice or 10-day concerts, right?
Well, sometimes that
sometimes
happens
it gets
too.
Tight.
Yes. Well, now there's it was young when we just started it. I had no idea what I'm getting into. 26 years later, I know what I got into.
Well, it's something that you have seen how it's grown from a house concert to what are your Musical Bridges performances like now?
Yeah, it's a miracle, really. And I believe that inception of Musical Bridges and sustaining it to the day now is one of the greatest miracles of my life.
Well, look at what it does for the community.
Yes. Actually, I still I feel I'm a lot of weathered CEO, who made a lot of mistakes, but still, what gets to me, we just had concerts at San Fernando Cathedral, and one of our audience, man who comes to a lot of concerts, he comes with the little Christmas ornaments to me and gives it to me, and just thanks me, and I just, wanted to cry. He's saying, well, thank you for bringing all this, music to us. It enlightens our lives, and and that is like priceless, when people
Right.
tell you that. It just justifies kind of my devotion of half of my life,
Well, they're giving
doing
a gift
this.
in exchange for a gift. And,
Yeah.
and when you bring music, it's not, it's something special when people recognize this is a real gift to our community. This is like having a beautiful garden that's blossoming all the time.
Yeah.
Because live music events are just one of the main primary attractions of sociological people, coming together for that purpose is, hey, look, it's music, it's entertaining.
You're right.
And it's old. It's old as people.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you is, what is your view and your involvement with the Gurwitz International Piano Competition?
Well,
I think that's the correct name.
yes, it's the Gurwitz International Piano Competition.
good.
Well, I'll tell you how it came about. So San Antonio had an organization that called San Antonio International Piano Competition that was 32 years old before we merged with them.
Okay.
So about 9 years ago, I got a call from the president of the board, N. Johnson, of the piano competition, and I thought that something is suspicious that they're calling me. So we went to lunch, and she told me that, the competition would be, the board of the competition would be honored if Musical Bridges would consider absorbing them. Because they didn't have paid staff, the board was aging, and you know how hard it is to fundraise, and,
Right.
and so they came to us because they felt that's the best match, partially because I'm a pianist, and they trusted that I value piano competition enough to not let it die,
Right,
really.
right.
So they kind of gave me their baby like this, like, take the baby. So the board stuck for about a year, and then we absorbed the competition. Our first rendition of the competition took place in 2020. Our first under Musical Bridges
right.
auspices. Yes, and we renamed the competition to honor memory of Regine Gurwitz, who was really, she was the president of the competition for, I believe, 20 years, and a philanthropist in the community. And actually, when my ex-husband and I just came to San Antonio in '91, she was taking us to meet different groups of people, and she's the one who introduced competition to us back then. And so I felt, that she deserves this special recognition.
Right.
And so in 2020, we had it for the first time. So as soon as we absorbed the competition, the first thing I did, I've traveled to Fort Worth to meet with Clyburn people.
Yeah.
Clyburn CEO, Jacques Marquis, and they were very kind. They took me kind of in like an apprentice, sort of, and very openly shared with me, answered all my questions, because I honestly told them, now we're like proud owners of this competition, which is a jewel, but I have no idea what to do with that because we've never had competition before. And so they were very helpful, and we still occasionally poke their brains if we need some information or advice.
guidance,
And
assistance.
yes, so they were very generous, I would say, with me.
That's wonderful.
And so the first competition took place in 2020, and we had final round at Tobin with San Antonio Symphony Orchestra at the time. Sebastian Langlessing was the head of the jury and the conductor. And competition also became a member of World Federation, which is an honor as well. And it has certain. We have to follow certain rules in order to be members, and we go out of the way to make sure we follow those rules.
Right, right.
And so the 2020 competition was very successful, we feel, but since we live in America and we want to strive for the best, right? Bigger, better, and more successful. So this competition is going to be even more spectacular than the one before. The competition is right around the corner.
Right.
It starts on January 26th. One of the big changes of the competition, as you know, probably Shigoro Kawai is sponsoring all the
Right.
pianos for us.
Right.
We're also in conversation with them about live streaming our competition through their channel. We're also bringing filming production company from New York to do live stream internationally and to do ESPN-style interviews backstage. So a lot of new things are happening, and it's even because it's so close already. It's my brain is like, you know.
So how has your contestant roster grown? How many contestants more do you get now as the competition gets more awareness? Do you expect more candidates to come in and try to audition and be part of it?
Well, what we noticed at this competition versus the previous one is the quality, quality of the contestants. So this cohort now that we have, which is 12 contestants, which were selected from 78, unbelievable quality. The preliminary judges had to revote 3 times because they couldn't agree because everybody was so great. And we have people who were finalists at Clyburn who are participating now here, and big cohort from China, because China now is one of the leading piano.
Right.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to it. We got 2 from Russia, 2 from United States, 1 Korean, and 5 Chinese.
Wow. So it really, I mean, it's kind of funny that the International Piano Competition has musical bridges from around the world, because that's literally where all the competitors are coming from. They're coming from around the world.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of fitting.
Yeah.
I just see this thing as being a great musical jewel and attraction for the city for years to come, for the future.
Yeah.
And I do want to ask you about this other project I saw that you were involved with called the Quilt. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So during the pandemic, while we were all sitting by our computers at home, we tried to decide what to do with our educational program, because normally we serve thousands of children in San Antonio public schools by bringing musicians to them, which is accompanied by curriculum. So during the pandemic, we asked the teachers what they want to see, because normally our curriculum is situated around different cultures. So we have segment on China, we have segment on Ukraine, segment on, just name it and we have it. But the teacher said, well, you know, we appreciate your international content, but during that time there was Black Lives Matter movement, and they said, would you please help us to address the creative, the positive side of African American culture? And so we thought, well, you know, we will make a segment on African American culture. But then, you know, once you decide to do it, then you think, okay, how am I going to do that? So we started, we think it needs to be a narrative. And narrative probably needs to come from a child, because so if it comes from the mouth of a child, it's more impactful for children to receive versus like another lecture by professor
or a boring adult.
Or boring, yeah. So we started looking for somebody who can write a script. And we were fortunate, we found a lady here in San Antonio who is a writer, Cynthia Gibbs. And so I remember very vividly how we scheduled Zoom meeting with her first. Her whole life was on Zoom, if you remember.
Right.
And so there were 2 Russian white chicks, me and Julia Jara, who was the director of the film. And so we talking to Cynthia, and we're telling her what we have in mind. And she said, you know what, I'm a writer, but I've never done anything for children, and I've never written the film scripts. And she wanted to say no already to us. But we told her, look, Julie is an actress, and she's director of development right now. I'm a pianist, and I'm CEO. So all of us, we're really wearing hats, which we grew into. So would you please, like, you know, we're kind of a little crazy here.
Because everyone's out of their job.
Yes,
job,
really.
really.
Function. We just kind of like, so she liked us and she agreed to do it. then she went into extensive research journey herself, and she presented to it 185 pages script, which we've never planned to do anything that
long.
huge.
Yeah.
So she went on the site of a Library of Congress, and she studied all these different genres of music and all that. So she wrote a script. And after we read it, we thought, well, we can't just, cut it and make it short, because it's like a jewel what she put together. And we decided to go ahead and film it as first we thought as a narrative genre. So we've hired all of the talent, all the musicians who we filmed, they're all local,
Wow.
all coming from Texas. And the actress, the little girl who is narrating this thing, and then it's lively movie. And believe it or not, it's just won 11 nationwide
Wow.
awards. And we're still applying to different festivals and still getting awards. And now we're trying to figure out, now we got this jewel, now what do we do with that next?
Well, I love the way it's, the way I found out about it. It says The Quilt, A Living History of African American Music, Ragtime, Blues, R&B, Jazz, Soul, Hip Hop. And it doesn't say rock and roll. But it's kind of interesting because all those genres and is really a living history of African American music.
It is.
And so I was kind of intrigued with that. And I'm looking forward to that. Is in production or it's
No, it's
finished?
finished.
It's finished. Okay,
It's
I need to
finished.
go and have a look at that.
We will
I just
send you
found
the
it.
link.
That would be great.
Yes, and we also have a little 1-minute promo, which we can send you if you want to. You can include
That'd be
it in
great.
this.
And then if you have links for the upcoming competition.
Oh, yeah.
And then links for anything from musical bridges around the world in the past that is kind of recent. The San Fernando Cathedral performance, I think we already have. There's already some links with that as well. But any of those links that you have will be available on this video. And that's a lot of blossoming of piano talent that's coming from all the way from Russia in the last, 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting journey because I've had about 4 other interviews where people were born into a house with a piano and their parents had decided they were going to be a pianist. And all of them are 100% conservatory trained, professional musicians living their dreams. Yours, I think, is really fascinating because it isn't just about piano. It's about bringing the gift of music to others and sharing it in a bigger way than just, hey, get around and listen to me play or sell tickets for a concert. It's like bringing other people and other performers from literally around the world. It's been such a pleasure to listen to your story today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Ted Barcelou with Alamo Piano Galleries, and we thank you for listening. Please, I'm asking you to go check out the links that are going to be provided with this video and find out more about the fascinating talent and person of Anya Grokhovski. And thank you so much for being here. We'll look forward to seeing you and your comments in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.